good morning, and welcome to Breakfast at UM webinar today. So today our sections are organized in conjunction with International Nurses Day celebration. So my name is Nantin Tin. I'm from the Department of Nursing Science, Faculty of Medicine. So I will be a moderator for the first section. So the title for the first session is Healthy Workforce for a Sustainable Future for Nursing and Healthcare. The speaker is Dr. Melvin Miranda. He is the Dean of College of Nursing, Manila Central University, Philippines. He is a member of the Advisory Council and the past president of Philippine Nurses Association. So he has 23 years of experience in nursing education and actively involved in professional organization. So today he will share insightful thoughts on sustainable future of nursing and healthcare. Without further ado, may I invite Dr. Melvin to deliver the talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. To our nurses all over the world, happy International Nurses Day. To our audience who are nurse educators, nurses who are working across the globe, to the communities, good morning to everyone. Good morning to our colleagues who are nursing leaders in the International Council of Nurses and to our National Nurses Associations who are attending our session for today. In the celebration of the International Council of Nurses and the International Nurses Day on May 12, 2025, it was emphasized as well that we need to be more focused on how our nurses will take part in the healthcare system and basically consider on their well-being. That's why the topic that I have considered is on the healthy workforce for a sustainable future for nursing and healthcare. Just a disclaimer, as mentioned, as yours truly have been active as the national president of the 2022-23 of the Philippine Nurses Association and recognized as the National Nurses Association of the International Council of Nurses. And in the Philippines, we had the Technical Advisory Group for Nursing Experts, where yours truly is a member of the uh, TAGNE. And yours truly is now a board of trustee of the Philippine Federation of Professional Associations, Council of Professional Health Association, and presently engaged and involved as in the academic community as the Dean of the College of Nursing of Manila Central University, Caloocan City, Philippines. As our part of our learning outcomes, healthy workforce is very significant on how we could engage our nurses towards excellence and quality care. However, the learning outcomes for this morning have considered the demonstration of acquisition of knowledge pertaining to the healthcare or healthy workforce model, which is somehow aligned with the vision and sustainable healthcare system. And even the International Council of Nurses have considered the translation on how our nursing roadmap will consider translation into policies and its core benefit for the welfare of nurses. And particularly as part of our healthcare system, this audiovisual presentation will show to us that even way back 2020, we have already projected how nurses will consider be part of the global healthcare system, even without the projection of the pandemic. And as we see the IT era, we will now consider how nurses take part and how they are important and their well-being is significant when it comes to the future of healthcare. So let's watch this audiovisual presentation. Caring is part of our, should we say, value. And I think this is one of the concerns that we really need to consider if nurses are being valued. As we render our services to the public, we have considered professional organizations and international advocates on how healthy workforce are being campaigned. Even yours truly have participated in the International Council of Nurses, wherein we had the conference and dialogues and fora wherein we have discussed certainly of the concerns and issues on health workforce, specifically nurses. The gathering and the assembly of national nurses or nurses association in many countries significantly consider concerns and issues on welfare, protection of rights, and how nurses are protected accordingly in the workplace. Work conditions of nurses are the core uh, and significant topics that has been discussed. And I think to have a healthy workforce, we have considered sharing of our best expertise, specifically policies that will certainly consider the welfare of our nurses. Yours truly, as a delegate of the Philippine Nurses Association and from the Philippines and representing also the Western Pacific region, have engaged into discussions and dialogue on how we manage accordingly nurses, particularly as part of the healthcare workforce. And with the exchange of those information, the outcomes have been translated on how we will move forward. From the video presentation that you have witnessed, those projections had been in 2020, and it was before the pandemic. And in 2020, nurses have been recognized as frontliners during the time of the pandemic. However, we need to take into consideration how these countries, specifically the middle and the low income countries, have sustained their workforce. Do these countries have prioritized the welfare and the well-being of nurses? And indeed, this has an impact and an implication when it comes to economies. So that's why in the celebration of the International Nurses Day, we have engaged how nurses contributed to the economies, but mainly consider how we are being protected when it comes to our well-being. Aside from our participation in the International Council of Nurses, we have engaged even with University of Malaya in the China ASEAN Higher Nursing Education League, wherein we discuss as well certain issues and concerns in the geriatric care and nurses' welfare in dealing with those issues. So that's why this certain opportunities will consider the venue and the platform for us to translate all of these policies to a global campaign. And indeed, being part of the China ASEAN Higher Nursing Education League, it is not just only nurses who are working in the hospitals that are affected, who are affected, but also nurses, faculty members, nurse educators are also affected. And indeed, we have addressed these concerns and issues in relation to how a healthy workforce will consider sustainability in the future, specifically be part of the academic community in the preparation of the expected competencies of our future healthcare professionals. And being part of the National Nurses Association and a member of the International Council of Nurses, we've engaged into the issues and problems of workforce, health workforce, specifically nurses in the different regions. With almost 7,400 islands and across the regions and separated geographically by islands, healthcare services are challenged for all of us, and nurses being deployed to these areas specifically in geographically isolated disadvantaged areas, are being prioritized by our government. But seemingly, we need also to take into consideration how our nurses take part specifically on their well-being and how they are being protected as they render their service with caring attitude, with compassion, and with a service-oriented profession. We engage in the Philippine Nurses Association significantly on the lobbying of the Comprehensive Nursing Bill. This is also similar with other countries, with the other member countries and national nurses associations of the International Council of Nurses. We work together as we engage into one and consolidate into one objective and roadmap. So that's why in the recent State of the World's Nursing 2025, participated by the World Health Organization, by the International Council of Nurses, and one of the leads from the University of the Philippines, and our president in the Association of Deans of the Philippine Colleges of Nursing, Dr. Sheila Bonito, have considered the focus on this report significantly on how to consider healthy workforce as part of the future of nursing and the healthcare system. This basically consider specific engagement on how we meet the sustainable development goals, and at the same time how we will invest in education, in jobs, leadership, and service delivery. And with the figures that has been presented in the Western Pacific regions, where our countries are members, it has considered that we have 8.5 million nursing personnel and 44.0 nursing personnel per 10,000 population. This has been the findings of the collaborative efforts of the World Health Organization, the International Council of Nurses, by which how nurses will significantly consider the distribution of the nursing personnel to its population. And indeed, with this report, in most of the Pacific Island countries, we have the stock of the 13 out of those population densities. So here in the Philippines, supposedly we need to consider we need to consider 27 healthcare professionals, specifically nurses, for every 10,000 population. But as per Department of Health, we have considered on track that we are engaging in the 17 uh, over the 10,000 population. This is depending on how it support the geographical location. And significantly in the State of the World Nursing 2025, it is considered in the education sector that we have 7.5 graduates per 100 active from the 13 countries and 37.5 graduates per 100,000 population, 90.2 female graduates from 4 countries, and 20% of countries from 20 countries have a duration of training for 4 years and above. What is our analysis here? In the projection of the health workforce, we need to consider on how we produce graduates and how they will serve specifically in their professional practice. With the 37.5 graduates per 100,000 population is very crucial because there are some situations wherein some of our graduates have not engaged into hospital work. They're engaged into other fields wherein most of the studies and the literature shows that some of the graduates have considered in other fields because they need to be prepared, more prepared, specifically in the practice of the hospital. In some healthcare facilities, some of our graduates have not engaged into public health because like in some of the countries in the Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia and the Philippines, the geographical location is at risk significantly. The delivery system are definitely needed to be funded specifically to render those resources to our people. And those had been some of the challenges. Job security is also a concern, specifically for the graduates on how they will continue to have their jobs in the certain field. the continuity of service, how they will have the job tenure. So these are the issues that had been addressed by the World Health Organization on how it will consider the enrollment up to the attainment of their degrees and up to the time that they have served and practiced professionally. So with this data that has been presented, it has considered as well on the education of regulation the concern with the faculty members. We have considered certainly ratio on how a clinical instructor or a nurse educator will consider the ratio for faculty to student when it comes to the supervision in the classroom, in the laboratories, and in the clinical immersion. However, with the existence of standards for faculty qualification, there are faculty members who still need to attain higher level, higher educational attainment so that they need to be updated and upskill. And certainly, with the insufficiency of the manpower in the nursing education, this somehow considers some of the higher education institution to limit the enrollment. And thus, this may consider also some of the higher education institutions who are admitting more than the ratio of the students compromise specifically the well-being of the faculty members. So we need to take into consideration the balance when it comes to education regulation. We need to consider policies that will also have an implication with quality education, well-being, and protection of our nurse educators and faculty members, and nursing students as well on their deserved learning experiences in their clinical immersion. It is also very important to consider the interprofessional education in terms of sustainability because holistic care is very significant when we consider a healthy workforce because we as being part of the healthcare system, we have been oriented on how to do nursing care plans. And collaborative and interprofessional uh, collaborations when it comes to holistic healthcare is very significant as part of the mechanism to render quality care. And with the accreditation of the health workforce and training institution in the programs, this will also consider as with the continuing professional education and training for our nurses. But again, this should have been funded by the government. So when it comes to the engagement, certainly on the graduates' annual production based sub-regions, we have considered in the Pacific Island countries of 10.6 as compared to the non-Pacific Island countries. This will certainly consider that the mean number of graduates per 100 active of nurses has an implication on how it will continue and translate this into a manpower that is being needed by the public. So these challenges will consider implication with the sustainability. And I think uh, to consider a healthy workforce, the World Health Organization have considered to invest specifically nurse educators in the preparation of future healthcare professionals and how we will invest as they engage, as they perform and discharge their responsibilities as well in their performance of responsibilities in professional practice. So it is not just only considering the fact that our nurses are just being deployed into the healthcare facilities and assignments as well. This is also as we consider uh, the capacity of how this institution will protect our nurses and how they will engage and promote the well-being. And these factors will certainly consider implication into the economy. And indeed, when we consider service delivery, these are the regulations and working conditions or issues that somehow um, may lead to some of the nurses to go out of their countries and work into other countries for a living because certainly we need to take into consideration some of the regulations that will be felt by our nurses in the grassroots. Working conditions that will certainly advance nurses to a high level of competencies, and nurses to be engaged into administrative functions. Nowadays, one of the concerns that we need to consider is, since some of our nurses in most of the middle and low income countries have stayed in their workplaces for the 2 to 3 years, the maximum. So that's why when we're going to consider succession planning, we are having difficulties and difficulties in terms of those who will take charge of some of the administrative positions in nursing in various healthcare facilities when these nurses are retired as well. The continuity and sustainability of the workforce is very important. And thus, this will also create an opportunity for us and even the legislators to lobby specific provisions on how we will protect our nurses. And thus, why we're talking those issues and challenges as well. Because this will certainly has an implication in the country's economy. So, if we don't have nurses and the manpower and the human resources, this will affect the operation specifically of the hospitals and healthcare facilities. If we lack and insufficient have lack or we have insufficient manpower, this may affect the services, the health programs that is supposedly being delivered in our communities. If there are some also challenges that will consider lack of resources and funds, this will consider how nurses will be more resourceful enough to deliver the programs deserved by our community people. And this a report from the State of the World Nursing of 2025, we have the concern certainly on the minimum wages. Even here in the Philippines, we are lobbying certainly on the stabilization of the wages of our nurses across the regions. And we have also taken into consideration how to engage our job orders into or contract of services into job tenure or security. Certain conditions that will affect working hours and conditions, as here in the Philippines, we are considering 8 hours. But due to the lack of the manpower, some of our hospitals are engaged into 12 hours. But again, if there are institutions who have been engaged into 12 hours, they are being regulated as well with those institutions to consider the number of hours per week. But in some other countries, there are some of the working hours and conditions that are not being regulated. So what are those implications to our nurses? Implication when it comes to stressful environment, burnout, certainly of nurses who may have high risk of committing errors. So these are the things that we really need to consider as part of the service delivery. The continuing professional development with the result of the 57% that are being considered by those countries in the Western Pacific regions are certainly not sufficient, because continuing professional development must be supported as well, because even in the implementation of the universal healthcare, we need to take into consideration how our nurses will take part specifically on this and will benefit from this, so that this will engage into core responsibility of safety of our patients. Fitness for practice or licensure examination indeed are regulated in most of the countries in the Western Pacific region, because this will certainly measure on the competencies, because again our core responsibility is basically safety. And when it comes to the authority for regulation of nursing and midwifery, we have 94% because we are very serious significantly on our engagement. So that's why most of the organizations such as the International Council of Nurses, National Nurses Associations, engagements into various agencies, international agencies, even with the ILO, regulations are very important in policies because again, this will protect and will definitely sustain our workforce in our country. Even the World Health Organization have been engaged into the ethical recruitment. And most of the statistics showed that those that are affected are the low and middle income countries. So I think the World Health Organization is campaigning for the ethical recruitment so that also to sustain the workforce of these countries. And when it comes to the advanced nursing roles, which has an implication in the universal healthcare, it's 47%. So we really need to consider, especially here in the Philippines, to specifically consider it as part of our law, and this will consider and has an implication significantly in those areas that has been mentioned, specifically on minimum wages, continuing professional development, and how our nurses will engage into independent professional practice. So I think these are opportunities. We are doing this talk with you as part of our role on how you will contribute individually, as a group, and as an institution, specifically to promote a healthy workforce. So, significantly, as part of the leadership, it's 93% that it was reported with the chief nursing officer or equivalent, and 56% has the nursing leadership program. So I think nursing leadership programs are very important for a healthy workforce and how we will sustain nursing, then the healthcare system, because this will significantly prepare our future generation. And we all know for a fact that the healthcare professionals who are in this generation are having different mindset. So that's why are we going to consider the traditional or the new generation ideas? I think this could be an exchange of information that will translate into productive outcomes. So involving the youth, involving the young nursing leaders who will be part of the various national and global nursing organization is very significant because they have more ideas, innovative ideas and strategies. In the AI era, I think this is one that we need to take advantage on how the AI will certainly consider as an advantage in sustaining the workforce. So some have perceived this as a threat, but I think if we will engage ourselves into research, this will provide outcomes on how nurses will consider this as an advantage for a healthy workforce, and how this will consider as part of the sustainability in nursing and the healthcare. So, as part of our engagement when it comes to the healthy workforce culture, it is part of our responsibility to consider them to be equipped and to be empowered. And empowerment will engage ourselves into a more mentoring and coaching programs. And I think the succession planning could be also be established in various institutions, both in the education sector and both in the healthcare institutions. So I think strengthening organizations may engage more specifically on best practices and must translate into policies. Equip leaders will certainly a healthy workforce culture if we consider those areas that will promote continuing professional development. And empowering the teams will consider engagement of our nurses for them to be more confident and to be more competent in the clinical decision making. So I think these three areas in the healthy workforce, if we have this culture in both education sector and in other fields of nursing, I think this model will consider ourselves as contributors, because somehow uh, when you are a student or you are handling an administrative position, I think you can contribute specifically on the hierarchy. And if you are a frontline, then it will benefit our patients, well or sick individuals. So I think every organization must engage into a healthy workforce culture. And sustainability could be one of the core areas of the outcomes of this healthy workforce culture. And specifically, when we engage into a healthy workforce culture, we engage ourselves into how to be more specific, how to envision that our nurses will take part even in the existing policies and as in the future. In the changing landscape of our health workforce, we've considered nurses as one of the major contributors. And I think these areas that may consider as part of the model must translate into outcomes as a basis and a reference for policy making. Because sometimes, as most of the time rather, if we don't have policies and we don't have provisions in most of the nursing laws, this may not engage into the funding that will support the nurses' welfare. So I think this will consider some of the areas that uh, will be very beneficial for our nurses. It's healthy vision, by which we need to consider how we will engage into more innovative workplaces, relationships, positive working environment. Healthy places will not just only consider facilities, but on how they are being protected, specifically on an established infection control. Healthy people, because it's on the wellness programs that we need to consider. Health promotion, because it may not just only engage institutional, this may also consider also from community to the institutional areas as well and programs. Occupational health and safety is also very important because even with the model of the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, these are very important on how we will work well and how we will engage more specifically into quality services and moreover the human resources. Being part of the human resources as nurses, um, we see the whole picture as our goal. If we consider ourselves as nurses, we are not just only part of the nursing service, but we are part of the healthcare system. If we're considering ourselves in the public health, we are part of the national issues and challenges when it comes to public health. So in this situation, in this model, I think these 6H that are being emphasized in this model will consider a healthy workplace. And with this healthy workplace model, I think this will be significant as well on how our future healthcare professionals, even those who are students, who are handling their positions as student leaders, I think this could be one that you will considered as a key takeaway on how this 6H as a healthy workplace model will be considered as a future healthcare professional. Because when you start working as a novice nurse, you will be dealing as a frontline with your patients. And these six areas or part of the health workplace model is significant and essential as you face your responsibilities in the certain level of management. And certainly we have to consider the problem with the shortage by 2030. We had the World Health Professional Alliance wherein International Council of Nurses is a member. And it is composed of the physical therapists, physicians. We have also dentist. So these are, I think, opportunities that will consider as well, specifically on these areas. And I think promoting or having been said that we have 18 million health workers shortage on 2030, it may possibly consider an implication on the poorer health outcomes and health workers' well-being. So we need to consider equality and enabling workplace. This will certainly attract health professionals and encourage them to stay in our countries. So the responsibilities of the national government must certainly consider on the health outcomes and the healthcare workers or the health workers' well-being, because this will certainly be guided by the positive practice environment. This has been the flagship campaign and program of the World Health Professional Alliance to support environment that will benefit everyone. This will consider specific empowerment of how nurses will be more engaged specifically in those opportunities, uh, specifically also with sustainability. There are also consideration in the management of practices and incentives. So that's why best practices are very important. When we learn from these best practices, we also engage into something that will be more innovative and translate it into outcomes as a policy. And out of the four of the positive practice environment, it is also very important to consider the occupational health and safety. There are many protocols and standards that are being established in most of the countries, and nurses in the hospitals and other community works deserve to be protected. So that's why even during the pandemic, it was there are many guidelines, procedures, and protocols has been established, and those who have benefited are nurses. And that's why if there are lapses certainly on these policies, this may certainly affect the well-being of our nurses who are engaged as a frontline. Education and information is very important because we are using various platforms now in the IT era on how positive practice environment can translate into something that will be very beneficial for everyone. And uh, turning these healthcare settings into positive practice environment, let us have the three R's. Let us have first the realization. Realization with your individual reflection, realization, are you contributing to the sustainable healthcare workforce? If you are a faculty member or a nurse educator, then ask yourselves. Probably you may take part specifically on this engagement. Second, if you are nurses who are working in the communities, are you contributing to the welfare of the public, certainly on the healthcare programs? And if you are a nurse who are in the regulation
Uh,
sector,
Excuse me, sorry to interrupt, Dr. Mevin. So we have another section to continue. So may I request you to shorten a bit for the conclusion?
yes,
Thank you.
actually, it's already in the
Yeah, sure.
conclusion.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So in this certain conditions or in certain circumstances, health professionals may stay if they're empowered, if they are mentored, if they are recognized, safe and secured, and trusted and even respected. And this already comprise the positive practice environment. And I think on how we will engage ourselves and contribute to a healthy workforce, we need to have the realization of how we will contribute and engage into a more opportunities like this discussions and dialogues. Reinvention on how our learnings will translate into something that will be more innovative and something that will be more efficient, and reformation and something a healthy workforce that will translate into policies and implementation of certain laws in your countries. Hoping you have learned from the our discussion and the talk for this morning in the healthy workforce for a sustainable future for nursing and healthcare. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Miriam, for your insightful thoughts, and thank you again. And then, yeah, because of the time limit, so may I pass over to the second session to Dr. Azian. Thank you.